Looks like stream disconnected for a second. Not sure what happened there. Hopefully it's back up now. Let me know if you can see my face, I guess. Yeah, so I can't tell. It looks like stream got disconnected. And I can't tell if it's live again. But it might not be. Womp womp. I appear to be back. Oh boy. Arrgh. 44. And 44. Excellent. Okay, and the next file is... Good. Let us do the thing.
Chapter 45. When Kaita and Tagata reached the shade camp, Kaita returned to her tent, but it felt far too small to contain her. She emerged back into the open air and began to pace around a nearby campfire. Her body felt weary, as if it had somehow been drained. She guessed it was from the effort of taking the hellskin form. She had never experienced this with any creature in her canon before, but of course she had never commanded such immense power. Mayhap it taxed her body in some way with which she was not yet familiar. But despite her underlying exhaustion, Kaita was also nearly bouncing with subdued energy. Her limbs would not stop moving, and any time she focused on her fingers, she found them drumming against her palms. Her eyes darted in all directions, seeking, searching, but she did not know for what. Was this a heightened emotional state after finally killing Mag? It was possible. Or mayhap it was some after effect of the Mage Stone. If so, it was far preferable to the weariness. But the two feelings combined made her feel an overwhelming desire to keep moving, while at the same time it seemed her body might give out at any moment. Tagata had been watching her carefully ever since they had returned to the shade camp. Kaita noticed it, and it did not entirely please her, but she tried to give a reassuring smile, and Tagata returned it. "You did it," said Tagata quietly. "I did," said Kaita. "I never need fear her again." "Well done," said Tagata. "And now it would be good for you to rest. You are not used to the effects of the stones. You will feel better in the morning." "I do not feel as if I can rest," said Kaita. She strode to Tagata, her gaze swinging back and forth, still seeking. Seeking what? "I feel as though I can hardly stop moving. But that is fine. I can rest later, when we reach the Great Rocks." A smile twitched its way across her lips, and there it rested, quivering. She ran her fingers along the edges of Tagata's vest, tracing the lines of it. "Mayhap instead of resting, we should celebrate." Tagata's smile dampened. "Not just now," she said. "But if you promise me you will sleep, I will happily accommodate you on the morrow." Anger flared in Kaita's gut. She very nearly snarled before she could contain herself. Her hands leaped away from Tagata like she had been burned, and she turned to hide her ugly expression. Her sleeve rose to scrub at her forehead. It was fine. Tagata did not understand what Kaita was feeling. How could she? And of course, if she did not wish to join Kaita in her bedroll, she did not have to. And yet why would she not want to? Thought Kaita. Why does she keep looking at me that way? She put a hand to her forehead. The weariness had begun to overpower the restlessness, weakening her limbs. It was a far cry from how she had felt when she ate the Mage Stone. The Mage Stone? The rest of them were still in her coat pocket. Mayhap another one would strengthen her. Before she could even decide to, her fingers began to steal towards them. "Kaita!" She froze. Tagata was looking down at her, smile replaced with a stern scowl. "What?" said Kaita, feeling her mood darken. "You do not need another stone," said Tagada. "It will make things worse, not better." Another flare of anger burned through Kaita's chest. "And what do you know about it?" she snapped. "You are no mage." "Kaita," said Tagada again, and her voice was calm. "Rogan warned you of this, as he warned you not to go running after Mag on your own. The stones prey on your mind. You must remain aware of that, and you must resist them. Otherwise you will be a danger to our kindred, not an asset." A danger? Oh yes, Kaita could be a danger. Her breath came faster. The fury rose in her mind until she could hear her heartbeat in her ears, and her hands clenched to... No. Kaita forced herself to be still. She took a long, slow breath, counting to 10, and then holding it for a moment before releasing it slowly. Everything Tagada was saying was right. Kaita had known it since she was a child in the academy, listening to fellow students whisper rumors. And Rogan had told her all this, and she had promised him, and through him, the Lord. She would not prove too weak to keep her word. She could resist the stones. "I am sorry," she said. She walked forwards and looked up into Tagada's face. When Tagada smiled at her, she laid her head against the woman's mighty chest. Tree-trunk arms enveloped her, and she lost herself in a deep sigh within them. "I have never felt this before, but the stones are not stronger than me. I will not succumb to their urges, and I will not disappoint you." "I do not think you could ever do that," murmured Tagada. "Do you want me to hold them for you?" Kaita's pulse quickened and her breath came faster. "No," she said quickly. "At least, I do not want to give them to you. But when I fall asleep, would you take them from my pocket?" "Of course, dear little one," said Tagada. "Now, let us get you in a bedroll. And no," she said with a smile, in response to Kaita's playfully raised eyebrow, "that does not mean anything more than it means." "Fine," said Kaita with a snort. And for that brief moment she felt almost like her old self again.
They're actually cute together. It breaks my heart.
But then horns sounded at the camp's eastern end. Both of them turned and froze, waiting for some further sign, but they could see nothing and no sound came. The sun had long since vanished, and the moons were not quite high enough to illuminate anything. "Come," rumbled Tagada. Together they ran for the eastern end of the camp. They found a group of shades already there, and more were gathering, but they were clustered behind tents, and they were all looking off to the east. Tagada and Kaita approached them at a low crouch, stooped to hide behind the tents. "What is it?" said Tagada in a low voice. "The mystics?" "No red cloaks that I have seen," said a sergeant, "but mayhap one of their agents. Someone killed 2 of our sentries before he was spotted by a third, a man in a brown cloak." Kaita's blood froze. She stood up in plain view, ignoring Tagada's panicked look. There, on a hill not far away, the twin moons silhouetted a figure. A bow was in his hand, and his brown cloak fluttered in the gentle night breeze. It was me, of course. But the moment she saw me, I turned and vanished into the darkness. "It is him!" she cried. She darted out from behind the tent, running east. "Kaita!" cried Tagada. "Wait!" "He is alone!" called Kaita over her shoulder. "I have kept my promise, Tagada. I will finish him off, and then I will return to you." She stopped for an instant, turning to meet Tagada's gaze. "I swear it, my love." She turned and vanished into the same night that had taken me. Tagada watched her go, feeling impotent and helpless despite all her vaunted strength. Almost she tried to run after Kaita, to keep her safe. But she looked around at her kindred, all of them looking confused, even frightened in the darkness, and she stayed put.
It's Miak! Holy cow! Well, welcome, welcome. It's been going good.
Mag was dead, after all. Any half-decent weremaid should be more than a match for a normal man like me. And Tagata knew that Kaito was far more than half-decent, even before she had the mage stones in her blood. She sighed and kept her gaze on the shadows where Kaita had vanished. Sky watch you, my love, until life ends.
Oh. I'm so sorry, Tagata. But Kaita's about to have a real bad time. Although technically you're not going to lose her. Not for very long, anyway. Alright, I got one more chapter before I have to go and start my day. My day.
Chapter 46. The moment
Hello? Please just upload my audiobook chapters. That would be real great if you could do that for me. I might have to give up and end stream here because my internet appears to be crapping out majorly. So that's fun.